On March 6th, a group of us met at the Thomas Foley Courthouse in Spokane, Washington, to participate in the Our States, Our Rights, the Patriot Answers rally, which was an event created in response to what happened to Anthony Bosworth at an event at the same location the week before, when he was illegally detained by Homeland Security. Now, before people start trying to debate whether or not it was legal or illegal, please note that the Spokane sheriff personally came down, went into the federal building, and had them let Anthony go. This is not something the sheriff would have done if Anthony had been doing something illegal in the first place. I am not going to talk about what happened at the rally, what was said, who was there, all that, because it has been covered extensively by both the media and various groups online. What I want to go over is how these events are portrayed by the media and also what kind of people really attend these events. If you look at all the pictures that were taken there yesterday, you will see that most of the people are carrying guns. When the media sees this, they kind of freak out. They start saying, oh my God, it's a gun rally. They're protesters with guns, or gun-toting protesters. I think that one was my favorite. But this isn't just a gun rally. This is so much more. This was a Patriots rally. All of us that went there believe in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and want to defend our country and our fellow citizens against those who want to take those rights away from us. So we are standing up, not just for ourselves, but for every single person, so that we may live freely under the rights given to us by our founding fathers. We do not need a government that wants to dictate every moment of our lives and tell us what we have to eat that day or what style of haircut we have to have. There are some people who will say that we are anti-government fanatics, and that's not the case. We do believe in the United States government. We just believe that it has a place and they have rules and they need to abide by those and not try to take away our personal liberties. We are trying to stand up against the tyranny of a government that is trying to take more than it has the rights to take, when it is trying to control us to the point where our kids can't even walk to the park, at least not alone anyway. They have to be accompanied by an adult, or you get arrested and CPS comes in to take your kids away. So we are trying to stop them from imposing these rules that should have no bearing on our personal lives. And that is why I say this is a Patriots rally. Not a gun rally, but a Patriots rally. Because we love our country and we are trying to protect it from those who want to take it away from us. Now, when I stood up at the rally and looked around at all the people that were there, I agree that yes, most of them did have guns, but some had other weapons. Some had knives. There was people there with bows and arrows and other things that you probably didn't know about. And some of them were dressed in camo, some were dressed in jeans. I mean, they came from all walks of life. But these are the people that the federal government are now trying to refer to as domestic terrorists or constitutionalists, like it's a bad thing that you believe in the United States Constitution. How did we get to the point where being a constitutionalist is used in the same sentence as a terrorist? But these are just people. They're your neighbors, they're your family, they're your friends. And these are the everyday people. And when I looked around, I had to ask, as I'm standing up there getting ready to talk, how many of you served in the military? And as I looked around, it was most of them. There were very few of them that hadn't served in some branch of the military. Now, I am one of those that has not served, but I respect the ones that did. And it kind of amazes me to think about that when they are fresh out of high school or sometimes college, so 18, 20, 22 years old, the government takes these young kids, they train them, they teach them how to use weapons, they teach them how to defend things, and then they send them out to other nations to protect the United States. And they say, all right, here's a gun, here's some clothes, go out and fight, try not to get killed, but you need to go defend our country from whatever the current threat is. And they send them out, and these people have to fight. And some of them don't. Some of them never see any activity, which is great, because war is not a pleasant thing. But others do. And they might see their friends die, or they might see, a family member or something get hurt really bad. Or, unfortunately, some of these kids even go out and they die. And so there's these young kids given a weapon and told to protect the country at all costs, including your own life. And they do. But then when they come back, the government's like, awesome, thanks for your service. We're going to take your weapon. We're going to take some of this other stuff from you. Here's a good job, pat on the back. And now you can go run along. Nope, go around. Leave now. Hurry, leave. And they send them out like you would maybe a lost puppy. And these people come back and they just want to live a normal life. They want to be happy and spend time with their families. And some of them may like to hunt, and so they go and get a gun for hunting. Or some of them may just like to shoot a gun for fun. And now that these people are out of the military and no longer under the thumb of the U.S. government, now they look at them like they are terrorists or troublemakers. So as long as you're 18, it's totally rational for you to carry a gun and go shoot things. That's fine. But once you're older and you're no longer in the military, suddenly you're like a really naughty boy. Or, they look at you like you're a really bad person, that you're going to try and do something that is going to kill people or blow up buildings or who knows what. They treat them like the boogeyman, like stories that you would tell your kids to make them behave. Like, ho, ho, kids, did you look under your bed tonight for the veteran? Because the veteran might be under there to get you. Ho, ho, ho. Or, oh, Daddy, I'm so afraid. I think there's a veteran in my closet. Help me, Daddy, help me. But the truth is, these people are not the evil incarnations that the government tries to warn you about. They are not terrorists. And I think the reason that we have so many veterans that stand up is because when they go overseas and they fight for our freedoms here, they see the oppression that happens in these other countries. They see kids that are killed just because they have some type of disability, or they see women who have no rights at all because they were unfortunate enough to be born with a vagina. So they understand what things can become because they have seen the tyranny in these other nations, and they know that the U.S. has a fabulous founding document to say how things are ran. And as long as we can keep those freedoms, we will be free. But if we allow the government to start controlling everything we do, the vaccinations now, they're trying to force vaccinations upon people. And now I personally have had vaccinations when I was a kid. And if I had kids of my own, I would probably vaccinate them. But that doesn't mean it's the best choice for everyone. And I do believe it's the parents' right to choose that, and that the government doesn't have any right to tell me or my family what they will be putting in their bodies. But veterans, more than anyone, understand what happens if we give up our rights. We can't give up our rights, because we want to live in a free nation. And it's not like we want to have to go out and do these rallies and fight back against the injustices that are coming down onto the American citizen. We want to be at home watching movies, playing games, being out in the woods or going on trips. But when this stuff happens, someone has to stand up. And if you don't stand up and you just let it happen, pretty soon there's going to be nothing left to defend. And that's who the people are that are at these rallies, are the ones that know what is at stake. And unfortunately have to stand up, because if we don't, who does? If we do not put our foot down and say enough is enough, no more, back the hell off, and no one else does, then pretty soon we're all locked in a cage. And it's not just gun people that believe in these rights. At the rally in Spokane in March, there was a guy there who, he was waving his flag and he was having a good time, and he was all for, the Constitution and everything. He's just like, yes, we gotta be free. And then I overheard him tell someone that no, he wasn't wearing a gun because he actually is a little afraid of guns, but he respects the rights of others to wear guns. And he wants to make sure that we have those freedoms. So it's not just crazy gun people that attend these rallies. It's your neighbors and your friends and everyone around that come out because they want to stand up for the U.S. citizen. And of course, it's not all veterans. I'm not a veteran. I have never served in the military. And there's there's others there that haven't served in the military either. It just seems like those are the people who truly understand what is at stake and what the cost is if we let this happen. So look around, and when you see your neighbors and your friends, I want you to think, are they really domestic terrorists? Are those people that are going to harm us? Or they just want to go about their everyday lives? When we showed up, there was no problems. We weren't trying to rush a building and break in and steal everything. We didn't hurt anyone. We didn't go up and punch someone just for fun. We were there, we said our piece, and we left. But we have this group that the taxpayers pay for called Department of Homeland Security, which I thought was supposed to be protecting the U.S. citizens from, terrorists or people that might want to cause harm to this country. And instead, they are standing there watching us. They were on the rooftops of the post office. They were across the street. They were dressed up as a homeless guy that somehow has a smartphone taking videos. They treated us like we were not U.S. citizens, and that we were so bad that Homeland Security had to have helicopters and police and everything looking for us. I mean, it's asinine. We are paying these people to protect the U.S. citizen. But if I'm the U.S. citizen and I'm the one that they're watching, then who are they protecting? Who are they defending us from? Because right now, it seems like no one, that they are not defending the U.S. citizen. And instead, I don't know what they're doing, but these are the people we're paying. And that's how we were treated. We're like simple troublemakers, rebel rousers, when we didn't do one thing wrong. So please, the next time you hear about something like this happening, or you see a group of people, please take a moment and think about who they truly are and how they are willing to stand up and fight for your rights, not just our own rights, but everyone's rights, to the point that it may come down to giving up their own lives to see those freedoms kept. And maybe if you can understand that, the next time it happens and you see a rally, you can go to those people and say thank you for protecting me and thank you for being there for me when I know you'd rather be at home.